Okay, so here's a question for you. What do you do for fun? Today we're going to show you how easy starting a hobby can be using the internet. Abby Stokes helps us get people online and conquer their fear of technology. Abby is the author of Is This Thing On? A Computer Handbook for Late Bloomers, Technophobes, and the Kicking and Screaming. Welcome back to the show, Abby.
It's nice to be back.
So you yourself found a hobby.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook pretty regularly, and with all the news about the bees and the collapse of the beehives and all of that, I started sort of paying attention. I also have gardens, so I wanted to see what I should plant for the bees, and then I saw that there was a beekeeping class in Groton. So I took the class based on what I found online, and it was fascinating.
Was it?
Yeah, I don't know if I think I'm a little farther away than actually having a beehive myself because it's much more work than we think it is. But I will intern with some people that have hives in the area. And every day I get on Facebook and I see little news, so I'm learning all along the way, collecting information about it. Yeah.
Well, that's how you started. You saw the post on Facebook,
right.
But I'm sure that'd be a great place to kind of expand from there.
Well, and that's what's interesting. I think a lot of people think Facebook is just for this one-on-one, tell me how your cat's doing or what chocolate chip cookie.
Sure.
But really, you can join groups or organizations that have things that interest you and follow them vicariously for a while, but it may be that you ultimately decide that you want to do whatever that activity is. And that's sort of what happened with me with the bees.
Wow. All right. Now, there are some very helpful websites.
Yes.
Depending on what you want to do.
You can always Google whatever your activity is, but there's a website called Discover a Hobby. Not only do that name is so smart. You can remember it. When you type it, it's all one word. There are no spaces.
Discover a hobby, okay.
But it means you want a hobby, you don't quite know what the hobby is you want, that's the website to go to because they really do list all the possible groups of things, whether it's arts and crafts, whether it's collecting, whether it's making, electronic, making train sets. So they're a great website to go to.
And you just click on whatever interests you.
They have a whole bunch of different boxes there, as you can see, and you can click on whatever interests you. It's a good first spot if you don't know what you want your hobby to be.
All right, and also antiquing is big and lots of resources online.
Right, and that page, they have in their pages there, when you go to the antiquing page, they actually have a series of tabs. You can see it there. They actually show you videos of how to participate, and they give you resources. So they tell you what books you might want to go to or other websites for that interest.
All right, so you peruse the websites, you decide, you find something you like. Where do you go from there?
Well, then you have to sort of prepare it, because remember, you're in a three-dimensional space when you're doing this. So the first thing you want to be sure you do is actually provide space for the hobby that you're doing. So I don't know if you watch House of Cards, but he does all those little reenactments of wars with little figurines. That takes up a lot of space, but also the equipment that you might be using for your hobby takes up space. So you want to be sure you provide for that before you get started.
All right. You could always ask your friends and family, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. We don't want to have your hobby make you antisocial, but it may not be that you want them to do the hobby you're doing. So either you can inspire people by your being active with your hobby, or at least show them the results of what work you've done. That's sort of the way to incorporate it into your real life, so it's not totally about isolation.
Yeah, they're probably wondering what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, include them. And then you say it's kind of important to pick an indoor and an outdoor. Change of seasons,
you've got the whole year. Exactly right. I think what I saw online was that the fastest growing hobby right now is genealogy. Perfect for the winter. The second fastest is gardening. Perfect for the nice months.
You could do both.
So you could do both. Yeah.
And then if you do decide to take up something where you need the equipment, chances are you could find used, cheaper.
My sister, she fenced when she was in high school, and so my nephew's 11, and we wanted to give him some sort of an interesting activity, so he started taking up fencing, which can be expensive for the equipment. So you can either go to Craigslist or eBay. Those are great places to find used equipment for whatever it is.
And you could find just about anything really on Craigslist. Things
you
don't want to find.
You could find a friend to do the hobby with you on Craigslist.
There you go, that's true. So you just kind of have to be careful what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then eBay also.
eBay's great for it, and you might ultimately want to buy brand new equipment for yourself. Like I scuba dive, and so I ultimately wanted my own equipment at some point, but it was a great place to start to get the expensive equipment first and be sure I was really involved in the hobby before I made the investment.
Make sure you like it, right?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be the expensive work, family, or friends, obviously.
Well, yeah, and it's a little bit about time maintenance. They say that once you turn 40 and you're thinking of retiring in 20 years, you should add a hobby and do 1 hour every week. And so you want to be sure that you're not cutting out time that you have with friends and family, but you want to be sure that you're adding so you get better and better at your hobby before you retire, become an empty nester, and have all that time on your hands.
Very good. And I know that you have a new book coming out. You have an upcoming event. Tell us all this exciting stuff.
So I will be at UConn Waterbury this Friday at 1:30. It's kicking off. They're doing a series of sort of touch tanks for people to deal with technology they've never touched before, and I'm the first speaker to introduce people to that technology. So
that's wonderful.
Everybody should come on down.
All right, and we'll look for your book next.
It should be.
Winter,
we're hoping sort of spring 2015.
Very good, Abby. Thanks for all the advice and the tips.
So nice to be here again.
All right, stay with us. More Kinetic Estella after the break. We'll be right back.